So you're thinking of coming to Sri Lanka, but you're not really sure what to expect.
As you can see, you can then jump on the train like we have done, and you can still enjoy all of the amazing views all the way to Ella. Maybe you're looking for all of the famous Instagram hotspots.
Or maybe you're looking for adventures on the roads less traveled.
I still can't see Lena. She's okay.
But don't worry, whatever it is that you're looking for, we're going to share with you our honest experiences in this wild and colorful country.
And because we are the Budgeteers and we specialize in having bigger and better adventures on less money, we're doing all of this on less than $1,000 each.
So sit down and relax and join us on this epic journey around Sri Lanka. Okay, Tyz, do the honors. Roll that intro. Woo! Boom!
Series 4 was made possible thanks to Sri Lankan Airlines, providing convenient and cheap connections to the island. Book your flights with Sri Lankan Airlines. We're also brought to you by Wondergo, the must-have app for any digital nomad. Discover destinations, workspaces, accommodation, and much more. Download it for free from the App Store today.
Previously on the Budgeteers.
After our long journeys around the world, all three of us, Patty, Tyz, and myself, Lena, finally made it to Sri Lanka.
Hey!
Back in town.
Series 4 starts now.
Series reunited.
We spent the first 2 nights catching up, having fun, and we got a good first taste of Sri Lankan culture.
Yummy!
We were really surprised by the capital city of Colombo, which we had all assumed would just be a crowded, busy city. But really, we ended up having a great time and were all pleasantly surprised.
But in this episode, we are going to hit the road and start exploring the island of Sri Lanka. So we woke up at our gorgeous hostel and devoured a delicious local breakfast before packing up and heading out.
Good morning. After that amazing, delicious breakfast of champions, we are going to pick up our tuk-tuk.
That's right. This 4th series, we are trying something new. We're not hitchhiking like we did in Series 1 throughout Southeast Asia. Or Series 2, where we hitchhiked all across Central America. Nor were we gonna hop trains and local buses like we did in India in Series 3. This time we're gonna use the most Sri Lankan way of transport. We're gonna drive around the entire island with our very own tuk-tuk. So we were super excited when we headed to the offices of TUKTUKrental.com to see what kind of tuk-tuk they had arranged for us.
Wow.
Which one is gonna be ours?
That's the lanky size one.
I'll have that one.
Hi, man.
Yeah, good man. Nice
See you again. Hi. Nice to
meet you.
Hello, I'm Tyz. Nice to meet you.
Luckily, one of the owners, Wietza from the Netherlands, welcomed us and he started to explain the whole rental process because it's not as simple as you might expect. To be able to drive legally, we would need a Sri Lankan license, which of course we don't have. But because we had sent in our own licenses ahead of time, TUKTUK Rental had done all the paperwork for us, so we had our licenses ready and waiting. Second was our insurance, and we received full cover, including third-party accidents, which is super important. And next was our safety briefing, which was a really in-depth video lesson explaining all of the ways that the tuk-tuk works and its mechanics. And since we didn't know anything about tuk-tuks, we were certainly happy for this advice. After this, we met the lovely team and finally got to see our tuk-tuk for the first time.
Hello, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Okay, cool. So this is our tuk-tuk, Lena.
Yeah.
You want to show us around first?
Yes, this is the back side and this is the front side.
Wow. And that was very thorough. We've got a license plate here. She's green. Are we going to name her, or is that kind of like not a thing?
We'll name her.
Well, it's gotta come to us. We gotta feel her out, you know,
See what character
she's
she
like.
has. See if I can actually fit in this thing.
This is the ultimate
It's
test.
the biggest model they have.
Oh my god.
It's like trying to smuggle a giraffe in the back of a taxi or something.
But we were getting ahead of ourselves. Before we could go anywhere, we first had to pass our driving lessons. Our instructor Chatura gave us a walk around the tuk-tuk and taught us all the technical basics, so we would know what to do on the road as well as maintain this brand new tuk-tuk in top condition. And afterwards came the driving lessons and tests. If we would not pass this driving exam, we would not be allowed to drive the tuk-tuk at all. So we were all pretty nervous since none of us had ever driven such a vehicle before. Our lesson is about to start, and Lena is the bravest one of us to face her fears.
Alright, mamas, let's do this.
Yeah.
Is it, you know how to do a car? Clutch and
I haven't driven a car in a very long time.
Okay, but you have a memory there.
Okay.
Ah, yes, very good.
Oh, I'm so nervous. Oh no, oh no, oh no.
Ah, yes.
Lena, you're a natural.
I don't feel very natural, guys. Oh, it's so hard to turn.
So as you can tell, I was more than a little bit nervous to drive my first few laps around the neighborhood. But next was Ty's and his first try.
Alright guys, now it's my turn to practice.
Can a giraffe drive a tuk-tuk?
Okay. That's too much, that's too much. The indicator.
Safety first, Ties.
Safety first. I have no clue what I'm doing.
Too much good.
It's really hard to describe how it feels to drive a tuk-tuk. It's like a clutch of a car, but you're driving a motorcycle. I've never driven a manual motorcycle before. It's weird, but it's fun. Okay, switch gear.
Yes. Good.
Yes!
Nailed it.
Wait.
Next up to try was Paddy. Now since he didn't manage to get the proper paperwork sent over in time, Paddy's lesson was just so he could have a basic understanding of how to drive, in case anything happened to Lena or I. You got this, mate, you got this.
Okay, just slowly first. Check the mirrors. Okay, good.
You've done motorbike strips.
Oh, really? No. So guys, if you're like me and you've never driven a car before, but you have a motorbike license, it's hard. It's something that will take a few practices, turning right here.
Yeah.
But don't let it put you off, because it's scary. You know, it's a tuk-tuk. It's an alien thing in an alien country. But this guy's a really good teacher. We're on quiet roads. Oi.
Press the clutch.
Oi. Sorry.
Not the compass.
Okay. Overconfidence.
To be fair, learning to drive the tuk-tuk was a tad bit frightful, but the more we drove around, the more we improved. And within an hour, we were thrown into the busy traffic of Colombo to learn about how there are actually no rules whatsoever, and you mostly just have to dodge the other big heavy buses, and it was pretty scary at first. Thankfully, our instructor Chatura passed Ty's and Lena, and we were fully approved and fully legally allowed to drive on the Sri Lankan roads.
Wietse then went through the entire map of Sri Lanka with us and told us all about the beautiful and hidden spots he had found on his travels. And we really appreciated just how much detail he went into, so that we were fully aware of just how many adventures were out there for us to discover. In fact, Wietse also wanted to share tuk-tuk rental's ethos with us, since it's pretty special.
So what we do with tuk-tuk rental is we don't own any tuk-tuks. We rent them from local people. 1.5 million tuk-tuks in Sri Lanka, everyone has one. With high government taxes, they're pretty expensive. A lot of people are struggling to pay back the loans. So we rent them from local people, and a large part of what the customer gives us actually goes to them. So that way, spreading the tourism dollars to the people who need it the most. We take what we do seriously. We make sure you get a good driving lesson, a Sri Lankan driving license, and a rental purpose insurance. Basically it's all fun till something goes wrong, and we want to just make sure everything is covered.
Yeah, and there's a big chance of things going wrong on the Budgeteers.
I hope not.
The freedom that came with having our very own tuk-tuk to travel around the entire country was something seriously special, and we were all on cloud 9. But we didn't have time to chill since we already had checked out of our hostel and we needed to start making our way up north.
Whilst we were still in downtown Colombo, we popped over to the nearest Coleman store because they had kindly offered to lend us some camping gear for our road trip. So we picked up a few sleeping bags, we picked up a tent, and of course, a cooler for our beer supply. And once we filled up the tuk-tuk and strapped up our gear, it was about time to start this incredible road trip. But we couldn't leave without having our bellies full as well.
Okay, this is the cool thing about having a tuk-tuk. We can actually go to the local market, park up, go grab some cold drinks in the supermarket.
Hello! Where are you from?
We are from all over the world. This place is cool.
Yes, unfortunately we had no time to hang around, so we grabbed some lunch and made our way back into the tuk-tuk. We needed to head further outside of Colombo, out of the chaotic traffic, and into the calmer outside areas of town. Once we found a quiet spot in the shade, we brought out the biryani rice and the curries that we'd bought, and we absolutely devoured them.
Yummy!
We did, however, forget to bring cutlery. So, we did as the locals do.
We couldn't finish, but I think there's a few hungry little fellas out here who will finish it gladly for us.
Enjoy, laddie. Apparently they're not vegetarian.
Alright, after that lovely lunch, we're back on the road, and now it's our girl Lina's time to drive.
No, don't put the camera in my face.
How's it going?
Very nervous, Mitch.
You'll be alright.
This steering.
Okay, Lina, you're gonna go straight on this road, and then on the next big road on the right, turn to right.
Hi, go.
Hi, how are you, Banam? I don't know what to tell you. Hold on, go back me.
Yeah, driving the tuk-tuk was such a cool experience, and we got to see some pretty crazy sights along the way. And as the hours passed by, we had made it a fair distance up north.
Okay, we just stopped by the side of the road and found this nice supermarket where we're gonna stock up supplies because we're going camping. And by the looks of it, this supermarket has loads and loads of stuff, which is great. And we're gonna pack the tuk-tuk full with all supplies. We're gonna get water, we're gonna get beer, we're gonna get small snacks, and some bananas, some healthy bananas.
Unfortunately, the supermarket didn't sell any beers, so we were hoping we'd find some later down the road. We did find a petrol station across the street and were really surprised by the cheap Sri Lankan petrol prices and of just how little it costs to fill up our tuk-tuk's fuel tank.
That's $3. $3 and a half.
For a half tank or a full tank?
3/4.
And with our gas tank now full, we could continue our journey up north and our hunt for beer. But most importantly, our search for a good spot to sleep, seeing as we didn't really know exactly where we were going.
Tice is doing a really amazing job driving this afternoon, but we don't know where we're going. So we need to figure out a place to go if we can get the map to stay steady. And we're up somewhere, yeah, we're here, we're in Chilo. We're about to drive into Chilo. So what do you think about coming up and maybe on this sticky outy part here? There might be a nice sunset.
I want to be close to the ocean so we can do a morning dive.
Nice, yeah. So yeah, let's just aim for this sticky, let's just aim for that sticky outy part, right?
Yeah.
By the way, there's these beautiful churches all over this coast. And Lena was saying that there's a big population of Catholics here, which is really, really interesting, isn't it? But we still don't have any beers. So,
which only means that we're only halfway.
Our search for a place to sleep continued further up the coast, but we weren't stressed at all since this was exactly why we came to Sri Lanka. We were looking for a true adventure, but we were getting a little bit worried that we might not find any beers.
thank you. Bye-bye. No beers, but there is a beer shop coming up apparently on the right, so.
You asked him for the name.
He doesn't speak English, he just kind of gave me this kind of thing. But we can find it, we can find it.
Another adventure. Find the beer in the country where there is no English.
Luckily, we got some kind help from these random strangers on motorbikes.
Food city. Then to right, 5 meters or 6 meters, you will see the food city.
Thank you, sir. Lifesaver.
Actually, a lot of people here do speak English, but it's half-half. Like some people are not educated in English, but some people are really good at English, like that guy, really friendly guy. So we're 5 minutes away from here.
I need you to help me.
But we need to do a dangerous U-turn.
I really need you to help me, guys.
So after some dangerous traffic maneuvers, we made it to the right place.
Hello. Yourself here. Good. So we've got the beers. Hola, chicos.
Hello.
Beers.
In the freezer. I mean, in the cooler.
Now we can officially go camping.
We can officially go now. Yes.
So with beers in the cooler, it was time to continue the search for a camping spot. We made our way towards the ocean and through some small villages in search for the perfect location. And we wanted to make sure we found this spot and set up tent before the sun faded behind the horizon.
Okay, we don't know where we are, but we're in a nice fish village. We've got about 15 minutes to find a camping spot because it's the last light of the day. The sun's going down. So let's go.
Hey, poo poo! Hey, poo poo! Hey, poo poo!
Hello, lads. Hello.
A few minutes later, we found a little dirt road that ended up on a nice beach with a pretty nice ocean view.
Look at that.
And we asked the neighbor if it was alright if we put up our tent on the beach.
Sleep.
Can we sleep?
Sleep.
There?
Okay.
And we sleep.
Yeah. She's like, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, she did not seem to grasp our meaning. Tourists never come here, so I guess she was quite shocked to see us. But with the sun now setting, we quickly came up with a plan to set up camp and sort out some dinner.
Who wants my help? Do you want my help setting up or do you want my help getting food?
Why don't you go get food and we'll set up tent?
So while Paddy and Lena were setting up camp for the night, I drove into town to find a restaurant that might cook something for us. And a few minutes later, the sun was gone, and we were all left in complete darkness.
Jesus, the road's filled with cows. We said we weren't gonna drive at night, but the first day that we're driving, I'm already driving at night. This is not good. Okay, I just got some food in town, but now I need to find my way back in the dark on these rough roads. So I hope I find Paddy and Lena, and I hope that they have set up the tent properly, and that I survive this ride. Oh, there are cows everywhere. And a bus.
It's like properly dark now, oops. Do you want me to stand on that for you? Oh, you got it.
And with Lena setting up the tent like a real trooper and Ty's finding his way back to us, we got to eat our first dinner on the road together in our cozy tuk-tuk.
Guys, we've done great. Wow.
Oh, that's huge. That's what she said. And cheers.
So first night camping.
So good.
All right, let's have din-dins.
Yeah. Yes.
We really enjoyed this huge meal and the cold beers before heading to sleep underneath the open night sky.
It was quite a lovely night's camping. Very hot once the sun had gone down. We were sweating buckets in that tent. And we've woken up this morning and it's actually quite cold. Actually quite cold. There's fishing guys, there's big tractors pulling out the boats, so we've been woken up. But that's fine because we need to figure out if we can find a toilet. And also the dogs, we put our shoes outside the tent last night and the dogs have taken them. I found one of my Converse. I need to try and find the other one. Huh? Good morning. What? My shoe is over there because the dogs took my shoe. Can I get the shoe? Okay. Thank you. Wee. Please don't come over here, dogs. Thanks for stealing. The locals are like, oh, very good, very good.
So while Paddy found his stolen shoe,
Found him.
we had woken up as well and wanted to know why everyone here woke up so early in the morning. And we saw that there were dozens of fishermen who had some crazy method of catching fish.
There's a big school of fish right there, and then now these guys are kind of doing a loop, and I think they're going to come around and try and catch all these fish in their nets. They're trying to push the fish into the middle of the net here, but look how far away that boat's doing that loop. They're going to catch a bunch. This is fun. Hey mate.
This was a really nice surprise, and what travelling is all about for us here at the Budgeteers, seeing the local way of life. Everyone here worked together as a perfect team, and these guys were at it for hours and hours, and by the time the sun was rising over the palm trees, their catch was coming into the shore.
Okay, it's nearly the time. These guys have nearly finished dragging it in. Look at this. Wow, good catch? Good or bad? Good or bad? It's a good one. Oh. Any big boys in there? Oh, big one here. Wow. That was fun.
That was a cool treat.
Yeah. Right, we should probably go help Lena pack up the tent because she's... We were like, oh, they're catching the fish. And she's like, I'm doing the tent. So we're like, okay, shit.
So last night we stop over here to set up the tent, and Patty says to me, "Hey Lena, when was the last time you set up a tent?" And I said, "Oh, about October, November. Why?" And he says to me, "I've never set up a tent." So what would you have done if I had gone with Tom?
Well, we would have done it. We would have just put it up in the dark and it would have been inside out and back to front. But look, I was a genius. I said, let's use this big rock to hold down this thing.
This pagan thing.
See? Genius mode.
And so together we managed to pack up the tent and freshen up from a really, really rough night's sleep.
That is a Sri Lankan shower.
In the meantime, the fishermen were packing up their nets and taking their fish home to their families, and we were getting ready to get back on the road. And since we had a long drive ahead of us of at least 8 hours, we decided that the best option was to take breakfast on the go.
The roads were amazing here, nice and smooth asphalt, as they went through lots of forest and we had them completely to ourselves. Or mostly we did.
Hola!
Oh, the babies!
And after a few hours of enjoying the scenic views and blasting some good tunes from our speaker, the road that went up north suddenly ended, and we had to take a single dirt road to cross the enormous national park of Wilpatu, which is normally reserved for jeeps.
Okay, we made it 10 kilometers on pretty roads, but now we're in the national park, off-road for the first time. Mind that we don't tip over. So yeah, it's going rough. Hopefully we see some wildlife. How big is this park, do you know?
I think it's 50 kilometers long.
But since this was the only road and we did not want to make any detours, we decided to put our tuk-tuk to the ultimate test and cross the wilderness ourselves.
At the entrance, we were strictly told not to exit our vehicle since this national park contains leopards, snakes, crocodiles, and many other dangerous animals walking around.
Go before we're eaten alive.
There are even elephants in the park who can be quite dangerous if you accidentally scare them, but we were really hoping that we would at least catch a glimpse of them from afar. And it wasn't long before we spotted some wildlife along the tracks.
In the next few hours we spotted exotic birds, wild boars,
Okay, they've gone.
giant iguanas, and even monkeys. Unfortunately, the closest thing that we saw to an elephant was its poop along the road. Probably because it was really, really hot, and we were definitely boiling in the back of the tuk-tuk, especially along those bumpy, crazy roads.
So we're driving through a national park, and Thais is killing it on these roads, but he literally looks like a cartoon character, like a little kid driving a bumper.
It's too fun.
Show him, Thais. Show him.
I'm having too much fun on these roads. I think it's all a game. Avoid the big potholes.
Oh my God!
another hour of bumping around, we finally made it to the other side of the national park and onto some decent roads. And once we found a cool spot with a good view, we stopped for lunch.
Look at this beautiful spot here.
You want the good news or the bad news?
I'll take the good news first.
We have
Ginger biscuits.
Okay, what's the bad news?
That rice is not good.
It's not good at all.
It's gone off.
No, then don't eat it then.
No.
Note to self. If you're gonna order fried rice for the next day,
Don't keep it under the seat of your tuk-tuk.
otherwise it's gonna taste like vinegar.
Yeah, it doesn't taste good.
Oh well.
There is a nice sea breeze though.
Yeah.
And a cool ruin. And a statue.
And biscuits.
And biscuits.
So we had to make do with biscuits for lunch. And it was only after a few more hours driving up north we found a little village where they had some street food.
So we stopped for a roadside snack in a town called Jaffna, which I thought was quite funny. What we normally do when we're starving is we just run in and we'll grab something because we can't really leave all of our expensive gear and money and stuff that's in here like just unattended. But this is something that we've found quite a few times now and they are amazing. These are...
They look like samosas, but...
Yeah, they do look like samosas.
The outside's different, no? Because it's like crummy.
Yeah, it's like breadcrumbs. But this is... They're warm, by the way. They're freshly made. And watch what happens when I bite into this, so excuse me.
Egg and like potato curry inside this like crusted outside.
And it's wrapped
so good.
And it's wrapped in pastry. There's this also spicy curry. So just this side is like a samosa, veggie samosa, but you also get a boiled egg. And when we stop, we normally get like 6 or 7 or 8 of these. And they tide you over until you can get to the nearest town to find dinner. So this is another great, perfect Budgeteers meal on the road.
Budgeteer approved.
Cheers.
Cheers! Hey!
Right.
Delicious.
So with our stomachs full, we were finally ready for the final stretch. It had taken us 2 really, really long days of driving, but we were almost in Jaffna. It had been an incredible ride where we truly were tested by the crazy traffic of Sri Lanka, but the reward was greater, and we were seeing a more unseen and undiscovered side of Sri Lanka. After 350 kilometers in our tuk-tuk, it is safe to say that we were no longer complete novices, but actually confident and experienced tuk-tuk drivers capable of covering great distance through this country. And as the afternoon sun was burning on our faces, and the last few hours of the day passed by, we were driving on the final stretch of road along the ocean, on a magical road that seemed to cut through the sea itself. That's when we saw the city of Jaffna finally appear along the horizon.
We made it, guys.
We made it to Jaffna.
To Jaffna.
And we had a shower.
Of adventures
And
to get here.
the tuk-tuk made it too.
Yes. We are very grateful for our tuk-tuk.
Yes, we are. We finally named her, right?
What, Catherine Zeta-Jones?
No, just Zeta.
Zeta. The road to Jaffna has basically shown what we were told. You're going to see the real Sri Lanka, the real off-the-beaten road tracks, the villages, the fishermen villages, everyone waving at you, everyone going, what the hell is Lena doing driving a tuk-tuk?
Yeah, the reactions to me driving the tuk-tuk were hilarious.
So many smiles and waves.
So many people like,
every single one was
just
smiling.
Especially when Lena was driving. They were just like, what? A woman, girl, driving a tuk-tuk with two guys in the back? But it was a really special drive. 2 days of adventures to get here. And yes, of course, Sri Lanka, we know about the south coast and we know about the mountains and where everybody's going. We'll be visiting there later.
Yeah.
But we want to see
That's more
the real Sri Lanka
the
first.
genuine off the beaten track.
Yeah, and it's cheaper up here. And we're the Budgeteers, so...
Tomorrow we're gonna explore more of Jaffna and actually see what we came here to do.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is here? What's there to do? What's the food like? What are the people's? What's going on? Basically, we have no idea. We're really excited. But yeah, just thank you so much for watching our second episode. We hope you enjoyed it.
So thank you guys for watching.
Subscribe if you liked it,
Like if you liked it.
and we'll
Share.
see you next week.
Thanks again for watching The Budgeteers. If you enjoyed this episode, we would really appreciate a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. It will really help us out. And don't forget to turn that bell on so you never miss an episode. You can also support us by buying our merchandise from our online shop. We sell t-shirts in many designs, which are going to be really cool to wear on your travels. So go and check it out. And yeah, driving a tuk-tuk was always a dream of ours and on our bucket list. So we just want to know what your favorite vehicle of transport would be to travel with. Comment down below. And to see what we get up with our tuk-tuk in Jaffna, you'll have to watch episode 3. See you there.
This is hands down my favorite thing that we've done so far in Sri Lanka. Just coming into Jaffna and getting lost. Like, look how much of a badass Lena is right now. And then all the locals, like the dudes, they're like, what? Ow! No, it's my fault. That was a thorn bush.